Hello, everyone.
Oh God,
This is the TB&J podcast.
what'd you do with Jeff, you son of a bitch?
Oh, don't worry about him, mate. Everything's fine. Everything's fine, right, Troy?
I just.
Oi,
I
I'm
just
the
wanna
fucking
see-
beekeeper, isn't it?
Oh God.
That's right, everyone. We're talking about the hottest movie of 2024. Get your tickets today to go see it because it's incredible.
This is our first 2024 movie, huh?
The Beekeeper.
Wow.
TB&J. Stand down, Clay. We have laws for things like this. Oi, and when the laws fail, you have me.
You're kind of doing more of like a Kano, like a Mortal Kombat Kano, than you are Jason Statham. I feel like.
It's the same character in my head.
He's a
So
little bit gruffer.
if you're not able to read or figure out what we're talking about yet, we are talking about 2024's movie The Beekeeper, starring Jason Statham.
A sort of weird, like A24 Safdie Brothers style, like artsy film that's just Jason Statham and an emotional journey of him.
It's actually in black and white without dialogue.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of music and moody faces.
Kind of incredible and a bit of a genius, like that Jason Statham. I never thought that he had that range.
The Beekeeper, to drop the sarcasm, is a 2024 American action thriller film directed by David Ayer and written by Kurt Wimmer. So David Ayer, if you don't know, has done other amazing blockbuster films such as 2001's Training Day with Denzel Washington and Ethan Hawke.
Okay, not a bad movie, no.
The original Fast and the Furious from 2001.
Good movie.
The SWAT movie that came out in 2003, also not too bad.
Oh, it's okay, sure.
He also directed Harsh Times, which I don't recognize. Street Kings that I don't recognize. End of Watch. I remember seeing ads for that back in 2012. Sabotage. Every one of these movie posters I'm looking at is just like angry-looking guys pointing guns at the camera.
Mm-hmm.
That's every single one of these fucking things. Oh no! In 2016, he directed the superhero movie Suicide Squad.
I thought that's what you were building up to. I thought that we all knew that.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I
That's
did
insane
not.
to me.
Okay.
I didn't know that it was David Ayer until the moment it popped up on the opening credits.
Yeah. But that's David Ayer, and then the writer Kurt Wimmer, which I actually did know his name. He has directed and written a couple movies that I actually do remember from when I was an edgy teenager that I really remember loving. He wrote The Thomas Crown Affair, or he was a writer on it. He wasn't like the single writer. He also was a writer and director for Equilibrium from 2002 with Christian Bale.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a really good movie. He was also writer-director for Ultraviolet, which is one of those movies that came out in the mid-2000s that was like kind of off the wall, kind of weird. I remember enjoying it as a teenager.
It is arguably a pretty bad movie that has a fan base.
It's another sci-fi movie starring Mila Jovovich. That's really all you need to know.
Yeah, but it's a weird one.
He was also writer-director on the 2020 remake of Children of the Corn.
I heard that was not good.
And in more recent times, he was a writer on The Misfits in 2021, which is an American heist action film. Does not ring any bell.
There was another Children of the Corn like last year, like a few months ago.
I did actually know that. I know that there are some of those franchises that just kind of pump them out under the radar because they're so cheap to make, and there are some diehards that really
I've
just
heard it
make
was awful.
I you know what? I knew that it was coming out because Dead by Daylight, the video game on consoles and PC, released Chucky as a DLC character. In like an ad, like, hey, Children of the Corn is coming,
Well,
please play.
Chucky's not Children
I
of the
know.
Corn, Jason.
I know.
Wait.
Chucky's Child's Play.
Wait.
But they were like,
they said Children of the Corn's coming out.
They didn't say
Here's
that.
Chucky?
It just like was around the same time.
Okay.
And I was like, that's weird, but like it also like put it on my radar. I don't remember exactly what happened.
Well, that's because Chucky is more of like a guy that you can do.
He was also a writer on Expendables.
Expendables, yeah, sure.
Expendables 4,
Another
I guess.
movie that I've heard is one of the worst movies from last year.
Mm-hmm. Law Abiding Citizen.
Wow,
that was
he
actually
did
a good movie.
Expendables and then this right back to back, huh?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
What a resume.
Assuming that he wrote this and didn't just AI write it with
I
some
don't
help.
think that this is... So I walked into this movie being like, this is going to be like an AI-generated Jason Statham movie. I don't think an AI could come up with this.
You sure about that?
I genuinely don't think an AI could come up with this. I think that this is like some off-the-wall weirdo creativity that turns out to not be creativity because it's just... So this movie...
This is a movie.
This is
of all the movies in 2024 so far. This is one of them.
And there's not that many yet. So this it's better than I watched the movie Plane with Gerard Butler last year. As
I remember that you were talking to me about that.
That movie fucking blows and is boring. This movie can say one thing about it: not boring.
Definitely not boring. You will watch it.
Can I ask you this, Jeff? Thumbs up, thumbs down on The Beekeeper.
Thumbs up, baby. I'm not being sarcastic. Thumbs up.
Man, why is this the hardest thumb I have?
Here's the thing. You want to give it a thumbs down. I know you do. Here's the thing. I went into this movie knowing what to expect. I knew that I would go into this movie and I was just going to buy a bag of Skittles and a bucket of popcorn and just watch some stupid fucking like action porn style movie where Jason Statham is just on a righteous rampage through Boston, and that's all I signed up for.
And it is more than that.
It is more than that, which is why it's a thumbs up. But I really thought this was going to be a big old nothing burger of just crazy action. And it did actually have a bit of comedy. There was other things in there that I was not expecting. It escalated way too quickly, in my opinion.
We'll get to it.
Well, I want to go through the synopsis.
It's a little like Megan coded, isn't it? Like it's in the same sort of Megan ballpark.
It's in the code of like Megan, where I was like, this movie looks ridiculous. There's no way I'm gonna like it. And I went there and I was like, you know what? This wasn't as bad as it could have been. And then they were like, oh, Megan 2 is coming. And I was like, oh, I'm so in now. I'm so in, baby. You really having a hard time, huh?
I am. I'll give it a thumbs up.
Okay.
And then I'll complain about it for the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, there's plenty to complain about. So let's start at the beginning. So Eloise Parker, who's played by Felicia Rashad, a.k.a. Mrs. Cosby from the 80s, is a retired school teacher who lives by herself in the middle of nowhere, and she has a tenant in her garage named Adam Clay, who leads a quiet life as a beekeeper. One day, Eloise falls for a phishing scam and is robbed of over $2 million, the majority of which belongs to a charity organization for students that she manages. Devastated, she takes her own life.
Can I be real with you? The first maybe 15 minutes of this movie, I genuinely was like, what if this movie is actually kind of good?
Right?
Like, the first 15 minutes of this movie kind of like, it's sort of like, it sets up kind of perfectly. Where I like her. I don't need to know the whole backstory of everything that they've been through or whatever.
I went out of this movie thinking, was that just an ad to like make me call my mom and make sure that she's not like giving away all of her money to like some scammer in Boston? Like, do I need to check in with my elderly family members? Not that you're elderly, Mom. Love you dearly. It's just, you know, it just felt like every time he was able to talk to someone, he made it a point of like, you're preying on the weak and vulnerable, and they got no one standing up for them. Because when you're old, nobody checks on you. You just fade into the background. And I'm like, oh, okay. Jason, you're kind of getting up there. Is this just like, you're just doing an ad right now for like old people?
So he starts crying. The one tear rolls down his stoic face.
He turns to the camera as like, in the arms of an angel.
Not that I'm old.
For the price of a coffee a day, you too could save the life of an old elderly person near you.
There is a line he has in it where he goes, stealing from old people is like stealing from children. Maybe worse.
Except it's worse, because children got someone looking out for them. Old people ain't got nobody. Most of the times they're by themselves. And it's like, dude, What? What are you talking about?
The dialogue in this movie is real not good.
Anyway, so after Eloise kills herself, Clay is immediately arrested the next morning by FBI agent Verona Parker, Eloise's daughter, after he goes to her house with a jar of honey that he very painstakingly harvests himself from his many beehives that he has on her property. And he makes this jar of beautiful golden honey and just puts a little sticker that says Eloise on it. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to give her a jar of honey. That's what I'm going to do. I'm a fucking beekeeper.
I also like the detail that his handwriting is horrible.
Oh, yeah, his handwriting is atrocious.
I just liked the fact that
you can
like,
barely make out Eloise at first.
They like looked at Jason Statham and they went, that's a guy who doesn't write well.
I never had to. I'm handsome and muscular. Why would I need to write anything? After Eloise's death is ruled a suicide, Clay is released. Verona tells Clay that the group that robbed Eloise has been under the FBI's radar for a while, but is difficult to track. She's pessimistic that they will ever be brought to justice, even if they are found. But so Clay goes out to the beehives, and he pulls out one of the hives from the box, and in the middle of it, there's just like a package wrapped up. It almost looks like C4 from any other movie, but he opens it up, and it's like an old-timey sat phone from like the 70s.
So this is the exact moment where I turned around and went, oh, this is going to be real bad.
Yeah.
Because he instantly just calls somebody up and just goes, hey, I need to do some beekeeping.
Nope. He calls somebody up and doesn't say anything. Instead, a woman answers the phone and says,
Sure.
You're supposed to be retired. And it's like, oh, God. Okay, that's the dialogue we're going with right now. All right.
But it's
and he's like,
so,
I am retired, but I need a favor. And it's like, shut up.
But it's so immediately into it. Like, it goes from, okay, this first 15 minutes is actually a pretty good build-up. Where are we going with this? Oh,
we're still in the first 15 minutes.
Immediately into it, yeah.
Yeah, we're still in the... They just like, oh, you need the plot points? Boom, 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 boom.
Uh-huh.
You need an excuse for Jason Statham to kill people? Here's the excuse. We're going to brush over all the details so fast so that we can get right on to the killing. Don't forget, this movie's rated fucking R. Jesus Christ. So Clay contacts the Beekeepers, a mysterious organization, to find the scammers responsible. And he makes the phone call, and he's like, I need a favor. And she's just like, okay, what do you need? And he was like, it's not going to be easy, but I need a name. And she's like, okay, why is that hard? And he's like, not even the CIA or the FBI can find him. And she's like, but we're not the FBI, are we? And it's like, ugh, I didn't need you to tell me that. I already knew that. Don't hit me over the head with things that are super obvious. Anyway, but then he goes about his life taking care of his bees in his shitty Ford pickup, and he gets a phone call back, and they're like, yeah, that was hard, but, like, we did it. Here's the address. And it's a call center known as UDG, run by a man named Mickey Garrett. Mickey Garrett, by the way, is just the biggest caricature of, like, a crypto bro that I could have thought of off the top of my head. Wearing just like a tacky, terrible suit that's kind of ill-fitting, if I'm being honest with you, Mickey. You need a better tailor, buddy.
He also looks like tall Matt Pat.
Oh, you know what he does?
Yeah.
But, you know, that's just a theory, Troy.
Mm-hmm.
A game theory. Rest in
YouTube.
peace, Matt.
Yeah, sad to see what happened to him.
What do you mean? He's not dead. He's just
YouTube.
He's choosing to retire on top and
I'm
give the
just
channel to somebody else.
Being an asshole.
Anyway, so Clay loads up 2 ridiculously, like, hilariously old-timey gas cans in his truck and drives to the place. And he pulls up and takes them out of his truck, and he's walking up, and 2 suits stop him. And they're like, whoa, buddy, what the fuck do you think you're doing? And he's like, I'm going to burn this place to the fucking ground. That's what I'm going to do. And they're like, no, you're not. And then he just puts the gas cans down and then handily just karate chops the fuck out of these guys.
This is the poll that I had from a few episodes ago when we were just talking about the trailer for this movie. This movie does hold
Clay
up
Garnett, excuse me. His name's Garnett.
This movie does hold up to
or Mickey
what
Garnett. God damn it. Mickey Garnett. I said Mickey Garrett. It's Mickey Garnett. I can't fucking read today.
This movie does hold up to what I said that I want it to be, which is just Jason Statham stands in a group of 2 to 5 people and talk sarcastically until he punches them.
Yep.
And that happens.
He does that several times.
It happens like 5 times.
It happens a lot.
It happens more than you've never seen the first Aquaman movie, right?
Correct.
The first Aquaman movie has a whole thing in it where
is Jason Statham in that movie?
no.
Okay, I thought that's where you were going. I was like,
No,
whoa.
but it has a thing in that movie where people will be like, okay, we got this thing. Now what do we do? And immediately as they say that, it cuts to a wide shot, and then the wall behind them explodes, and then bad guys pour out of it. And that happens 95 times in that movie.
That's
and it's just
awesome.
their way of moving the plot forward again.
That's awesome.
And that's how this felt, where it was just like, okay, we've got all these guys. How is he going to get into here? And then he just walks up and starts having a conversation with them, and then he punches them. And here's the problem with the Beekeeper as like a character. So...
Troy just straightened their posture in the chair. It's time to talk serious.
I sat up. I'm crossing my legs. I'm getting into it.
Oh man.
So this movie is, what if we were like, oh, he's like John Wick, right? It's a John Wick like clone, pretty much.
Yeah, he's an old retired guy for a secret organization that doesn't really exist on paper.
Right.
Somebody killed somebody close to him for one reason or another. In this case, she took her own life. In John Wick, they kill his dog.
Yeah.
And then he just goes on a rampage. Except in John Wick, it was very good. In The Beekeeper, it's very Jason Statham.
They even there's a whole scene with Jeremy Irons and the
I
the
forgot
main
Jeremy
character.
Irons in this movie.
Yeah, which I would say he's above this, but also he did do the Dungeons and Dragons movie, the old one, the 90s one.
Yeah, he was the bad guy, right?
Yeah, he's not above this. He sometimes is like, oh, I'm like a real Shakespearean actor, and sometimes he's like, and I'll be in The Beekeeper.
He was also, I don't know if you ever read the Aragon books as a kid.
He's in that, yeah.
He's in the Aragon movie as
the
Brom.
same character in that he is in the D&D movie, except a little bit toned down.
Yep. He does the quiet, gruff, mean British guy very well.
He just yells a little bit more in D&D.
Yeah, yep.
But so he's not necessarily above this movie. He does paycheck movies too. But there's a scene in this that is shot for shot the exact same scene from John Wick 1, where the guy's dad in John Wick 1 is describing to him Baba Yaga, and like basically, you fucked up and now this guy's gonna kill you, and even I can't do anything to defend you. That exact same speech is in this movie. From Jeremy Irons to the
Jeremy Irons
dickhead
is like a retired CIA guy who's now the personal security for this tech exec idiot named Derek Danforth, who's just another 28-year-old crypto bro with an earring, and he vapes, and he's a douchebag. And he's like, do you realize what you stepped in? Even I can't save you. Nobody can save you. Your only hope is that he gets bored and doesn't kill you.
It's the same Baba Yaga speech from the first John Wick,
Yep.
except there's no details about him killing people with pencils. He just keeps going, oh yeah, you've pissed off a beekeeper, and then you're gonna die. And then he's like, well, what does that mean? He goes, well, that means you're gonna die at the hands of the beekeeper.
Yep,
and
that's all he says over and over.
And he goes, okay, but tell me what I'm up against. And he goes, you're probably the person who you're gonna stare into. It's the last eyes you ever stare into. You know, the beekeeper. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Say something. Say something. But what I was saying was the problem with him is, as a character, is he is.
I've never seen you this animated
he's
talking
sort of,
about a movie.
He's sort of.
You're so animated.
I was analyzing this movie, this dog shit January movie that they just kind of pumped out.
Like, what movie comes out early January?
Movies that they know nobody's watching. Fucking, like, every now and then there's, like, a gem that comes out in, like, January, February.
Sure.
This is, like,
I can't think of one, but sure.
Yeah, it's a lot more February than they are January, to be fair. Like a Deadpool.
Well, Valentine's Day is kind of a movie holiday.
Yeah. But, and also Sonic.
Can't forget Sonic. And Detective Pikachu was February, I think.
Yeah, but I don't like Detective Pikachu. I'm one of the few people who don't. I'm an anti-Detective Pikachuer. I know. It's one of my hot takes that people don't like.
You just pissed off a beekeeper, mate.
Jason Statham fucking loves Detective Pikachu.
This might be my favorite podcast we've done in a while.
But so the problem with the Beekeeper as a character is he's kind of an amalgamation of like three things. He's like John Wick, he is the accountant, and he is
I'll give you that.
And he is like the hitman from the Hitman games. And like he's very Agent 47-ish.
It's like borderline what's the word I'm looking for? It's like borderline supernatural powers.
Sure.
With how good he is at killing people.
I'm mostly thinking about some of his sneak-in scenes from at the end, which we'll get to. I don't want to spoil the end of this.
That's very Agent 47.
Mm-hmm. And he's bald.
Well, you're just typecasting now. Come on.
Sorry. But the whole thing is like...
I did notice the barcode on the back of his head, though. I wonder if that means anything.
Well, that's just because you can scan him and buy a Jason Statham movie at your leisure.
If you scan him, they ship you the Blu-ray of The Beekeeper.
It was weird. Usually I'm against people with their phones out in the movie theater, but I kind of got it. I understood people were trying to
I ordered
scan
6 copies. I just had to.
They come in honeycomb-shaped discs. It's very hard to put into like your DVD player, Blu-ray player.
But if you drop it, it doesn't roll across your floor.
No, it doesn't. But it's also serrated edges, so you can throw it at people and be a beekeeper. But what I was saying was the problem with him.
There's no way the Blu-ray doesn't come with instead of like the book, it says like beekeeping for beekeepers. That book that she finds in the truck. Yeah.
But the problem is that those characters are sort of like stealthy and cool, and like they'll like find back entrances in, and like the accountant will kill like fucking everybody in a room.
Sure.
Before they know that he has like a sniper rifle on them, or like John Wick will kind of like check out a place and then walk in, sort of not having people know he's John Wick, and then they figure out, and then everybody beats his ass, and he gets his ass beat a lot in that movie.
Well, that's the thing. He takes some lumps.
Yeah.
Jason Statham doesn't really take any lumps.
Not only that, but Jason Statham in this movie takes the front door every opportunity he can. And it's like
I want to give credit to the director though for that. Like it kind of just highlights like he doesn't care. He knows he's the strongest, baddest motherfucker. He's gonna kill them all. But I think that's what they were going for. I don't know if they achieved it every time.
No. When he walks up and he puts down the 2 tanks and he's like I'm gonna burn the place down. I'm like, well, you've like fucked up. Like if these guys weren't the biggest idiots, you would they'd tase you at the very least.
Like what the fuck?
I'm just saying he doesn't always come off as a tough badass every time. It just makes everybody else look really dumb.
Yeah, that's definitely my biggest complaint of the entire movie. If I had to pick one biggest complaint, is that this movie does less to make Jason Statham seem foreboding and intimidating, and more to just be like, oh, is everyone in America fucking stupid? Like, is everyone just really bad at fighting except this guy who's pretty good at it? Like, at the end of the movie, spoilers, he goes up against the Secret Service and the FBI and the CIA all at once. and makes them all look like fools.
And also some, like, bounty hunter guys that are on the side, too.
Yeah, guys that are, like, not even on the payroll, and he makes everyone look like fools. Fools, Jerry, fools!
He also takes about no battle damage until the last, 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, it's so fucking bizarre. But anyway, just to continue on with where we left off. So he goes there with the gas cans. He says he's going to burn the place down. He walks upstairs. He goes in. He signs in at the front desk with the girl. And then he's like, you might want to tell the other businesses in here to evacuate. And then flashes her the gas cans. And then she's like, oh, okay. Like, that's the end of it? That just okay? Not, I'm calling the police? No. Okay, fine. Be that way. So he goes upstairs. He tells everyone to, do the little repeat after me shit about how you won't, steal from the weak and vulnerable. And then he starts, he beats a guy with a fucking phone receiver. And then he just starts pouring gasoline on people. On the desks, on the computers, until this Mickey Garnett guy tries to stop him, and he just handily takes out Garnett's guards. Garnett runs away, and then he uses the phone to rig up like a detonator for the gasoline, and then he blows up the building. But everyone keeps saying he burned it down.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He blew a hole in the building.
He metaphorically burned it down.
I guess.
There was flames at one point.
Yeah, it's whatever. Garnett informs his boss, technology executive Derek Danforth, the Josh Hutcherson vaping guy, and Danforth orders Garnett to round up some guys and kill Clay. Garnett and his thugs find Clay back at Eloise's property, and first they decide to shoot up his bees because he does say that he's just a beekeeper. So they find the hives and they just unleash hell on them with all these shotguns and rifles. And I'm like, okay, so he definitely heard you and knows you're coming. He blew up your office. Why did you announce yourselves so loudly? But okay.
Also, minor nitpick here. How come they didn't get stung by any bees?
I mean,
I feel like if I shot a bunch of beehives, I feel like some of them would sting me. Probably.
Technically, if they're all honeybees, I don't think they have stingers, or at least they don't have the same stingers as different bees. I'm not a fucking apiarist. I'm not a fucking beekeeper. It's not who I am. I'm not Jason Statham. But anyway, so Clay.
I mean, I thought you were. You have the same sort of chiseled washboard ab physique that he's got, and I was confused. I mean, you have a more of a head of hair than he does.
I do. I have a luscious head.
Yeah,
of hair.
no Australian accent. So those are like the two key differences. But like in sort of like stature and physique, it's pretty close.
Yep. But this group of guys walk into Clay's garage, and they just get murdered one by one. One guy gets put up on a hook and hanged to death. Excuse me. Another guy, he puts his shotgun in his mouth and pushes so hard his eyeballs pop out. And I was like, I don't think that's how that would
like
work.
Like a Mortal Kombat fatality.
Honestly, that's what it felt like. Another guy, I don't even remember what happens to him. It doesn't matter. But then Garnett
just pushes that guy real hard into some bookcases or something.
I guess. But then Garnett gets his fingers chopped off in a drill press, which that's not how a drill press would do that. It wouldn't be clean like that unless it was a saw's, like a table saw. But even then, like,
maybe he's got weak fingers.
I guess. Maybe. I don't know, but that's not how that would work with the drill press. But he does chop his fingers off on his right hand, and then just tosses him in like the bed of a truck that's in there, and then just walks away. And as he walks away, he like pushes the hanging guy out of his way, which I thought was really, really funny. And then he follows Garnett to a bridge, and then pulls him out of his fancy Cadillac, and just ratchet straps him in place. And the other ratchet strap is connected to his shitty Ford that he just revs up and just releases and just sends it flying off the bridge. And then it just takes Garnett with him, just down into the river. Bye-bye.
I'm also confused by the setup of this scene because he calls his boss.
The Derek guy, Mr. Danforth.
And they're like talking, and I'm like, did he get away? Did Jason Statham bring him here to like, and then want him to call? Because he doesn't really mention that he's here and like that he made him call him because he does want to get on the phone call. So I'm like, what's the setup here?
It's bizarre at the very least. But he says this guy, I found him. He says he's a beekeeper and he killed my guys and he chopped off my fingers. And then he just sent him into the river, and then Clay picks up the phone, and he's like, I'm the guy who's going to fucking kill you. And that's it. That's pretty much it. And then Danforth goes to talk to Mr. Wallace Westwild, or Westwild, who fucking cares? Jeremy Irons, about Clay. Jeremy Irons is retired CIA director, and he currently works private security for Mr. Danforth. And he says that he does it out of a favor to Derek's mother. And they keep building up Derek's mom as like this powerful figure and blah, blah, blah. Whatever. We'll get to her. But then that's when the speech comes in.
Yeah.
he's a beekeeper, and then he like freezes, and it's like, oh, beekeeper, you shouldn't have pissed off a beekeeper, but why? What's the matter? You can't kill him? And he's like, oh, I can't kill him. He's a beekeeper. It's like, you haven't explained what a beekeeper is yet.
And again, it works. This character works in the first John Wick movie of the kid who basically comes in and like they beat his ass, they kill his dog, they steal his car. And then when he gets this whole speech, he has like this moment where he's sort of like, well, oh shit, like, well, what did I do? But he's still like, well, we beat the shit out of this guy before. Like, it's not like it's whatever. Like and then more as the movie progressively goes on, the more and more this guy's like pissing his pants, and then towards the end he's like completely freaked out
because John Wick knows how to do a fucking proper build up. And a slow burn of tense suspense. And
then you have the end of the first John Wick where his dad is just sort of like laughing, basically just like, you fucked us, we're both dead, like we both are gonna die, and he's freaking out, and he's like, whoa, he's like, you gotta do something, and he's like, sorry, it's over, the movie's ending, and we're going to die in it. And in this movie, this kid doesn't give a shit until the last 5 minutes of the movie. He's like, well, who cares about this guy? And it's like, he killed like 35 people, and he's
so
like
far.
Yeah, and he's coming towards you, and again, we'll get to what the finale of this is, but like you're in a spot where it was just like, if somebody can get to you in this situation, or you need this situation to keep you safe, you shouldn't be as calm as you are.
Yeah, so Jeremy Irons pulls out this like hidden phone that he's got, and he calls into the CIA, and the current CIA director is like, I told you never to use this phone. It's like almost the same conversation the Beekeeper had with Jason Statham earlier in the movie. And he's like, yeah, but I need a favor. I need this Beekeeper man dealt with. And she's like, okay. She contacts the real so the current director contacts the Beekeepers and learns that Clay is actually retired from the organization, and they're going to send the new Beekeeper, or one of them, we don't really know, to go kill Clay, since he's, pissing off the wrong people. So the new Beekeeper ends up pulling up to Clay at a gas station where he's filling up the Cadillac that he stole, and she pulls up in a pickup truck, and it's a crazy fight scene, and it's so bizarre, and I don't know how much of this was done to show like Jason Statham is so cold and calculated and awesome compared to everyone else, but like she's very cavalier, and she like pulls up and like rams his car and just jumps out with a shotgun just blasting away, whereas Jason Statham so far with the killings has been very calm, cool, collected, more calculated and planning. This woman just seems to be like murder,
which again would work if Jason Statham had one plan in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's supposed to be the difference between them, but also, he doesn't do that.
No. And then she ends up, like, it's a big fight. There's a minigun involved on her car.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, Clay burns the agent to death and cuts off her finger, and the gas station explodes behind him as he leaves. And then the Beekeepers, after that, inform the CIA that they will remain neutral in this endeavor, and they will not pursue Clay. Obviously.
Which is like a super speed run of John Wick being excommunicated.
Yeah, speed run of Excommunicado, which was the entire plot of like John Wick 2 or 3.
It's pretty much all of them after
3.
2, yeah. 2 pretty much ends, and then it's just like, well, this is the whole thing now.
Yep, we gotta be excommunicado. Anyway, so meanwhile, Verona, remember the daughter, and her partner, Matt Wiley, have been following the crime scenes and have discovered that Adam Clay does not officially exist. They determine that Clay's next target is the 9 Points Data Center, which manages Derek's call centers throughout the world, including UDG. After informing the FBI deputy director that Clay is a beekeeper, they receive a blank check to go after him. And there's this scene where they're at a table with like the deputy director, and she's like, he's called a beekeeper, and we don't know exactly what that means yet, but we're looking into it. And the director's like, let's stick to what we know, please. And like he visibly tenses up a little too much, and he's like shuts it down immediately. And it's like, okay, so like Clearly, you guys know what beekeepers are. Cool. Awesome.
We did get one of those, the patented line where they all leave the room and they're like, "You have a plane check, do whatever you want," and they left. And the two FBI agents look at each other and they go, "Did that just happen?" And we got one of those in there.
Yep. And then, meanwhile, we have Wallace, or Jeremy Irons, excuse me.
And Gromit.
Yep. Jeremy Irons is coordinating a group of ex-Special Forces personnel, revealing to them that the Beekeepers are a clandestine organization that's existed for a long time, tasked with protecting the United States, operating above and beyond governmental jurisdiction. So you're ripping off Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. Got it.
It's
awesome.
It's like a state-funded vigilante.
Yeah, basically. And you're also ripping off the Spectres from Mass Effect. It's not an original trope at all. There's always going to be like that group of do-gooders that are like above the law.
Yeah.
It's tried and true. Whatever. To have a chance at stopping Clay, Jeremy Irons orders the group to secure the inside of the 9 Points building while the FBI places their own SWAT team around the perimeter. And it's during this that we get Jeremy Irons' speech to all of them where he's like, "You guys are the best of the best. You are Navy SEALs, Delta Forces, Army Rangers. You know what that means? You're pussies. He is a beekeeper, and he would kill every single one of you at the same time with his little finger," or whatever the fuck the speech was.
Yeah.
But it was like, he's doing a lot of telling, not showing, that beekeepers are highly, highly trained above what standard special forces are in America, and that's just ridiculous.
There's a lot of scenes in this movie where people are given like a big exposition speech that they have to kind of make grandiose because they're trying to set up almost like not setting up a universe, but you know what I mean, like they're trying to make this seem,
They kind of are.
Sure, but they're trying to make it seem more like there's backstory to this in the same vein as there is like a John Wick Continental. But it's also one of those things where it's like every one of these speeches is just exposition, and all of them are somebody acting, like capital A acting.
Yeah,
where it's just,
like fucking Calculon.
Yeah, exactly. They should have just put Calculon in this movie. Who would be pretty cool.
I mean, you could just also just get Maurice LaMarche.
No, they should get Calculon.
I don't know.
It's different.
I think Calculon is trademarked. I think he's owned by Fox.
They could probably get him.
I mean, yeah. There's not too many companies left that own things. It's just like 3 Umbrella Corps that own everything.
Are you saying late-stage capitalism is a problem and sometimes pumps out? Anyway.
Never, comrade.
Oh.
Anyway, we're coming up on my favorite scene, bud. We're coming up on one of my favorite scenes. So the FBI places their own SWAT team around the perimeter. Despite the Special Forces leader's insistence that the employees should be removed from the building for their safety, Danforth orders them to keep working. This allows Clay to quickly defeat the FBI SWAT team outside and infiltrate the building, taking down the manager, who reveals to Clay and the FBI that Derek Danforth is his boss. So the FBI is outside this building. They know that Adam Clay is on his way, and he's gonna try to get in and kill these people. They know what he looks like.
I mean, there's so many people who look like Jason Statham.
He just waltzes up to them as they're going over their like security detail of the building, and not only waltzes up to them, but pushes past a couple of them into the middle of the circle. I don't know how much you know about law enforcement, and specifically federal law enforcement. You don't get within 6 feet of them.
They're usually pretty chill.
Are they?
Yeah. If there's one thing that I know about U.S. law enforcement at any level, usually very, very chill and level-headed and calm.
And definitely letting anybody just walk up to them while they're going over security plans.
Not like an intense amount of paranoia and way too much power and fucking trigger happy on anything.
Jason Statham, unarmed, by the way, in this circle of FBI agents.
Although, note one thing. Jason Statham, very white man with a Australian accent. So
British Isles.
Is he? Okay.
They say that in the movie.
Okay. Well, I don't know if he's Australian. I don't know. For some reason, I've always assumed he's Australian, and I could be wrong about that.
He was born in Shirebrook, Derbyshire. I don't need to look up where that is.
I don't think that's Australia.
I don't need to look up where that is. I know where that is.
Gotcha.
Uh-huh. He's also 56.
Oh, okay.
So he's not terribly old.
Yeah.
Still super fucking jacked. You know, I certainly wouldn't want to fight him.
If I saw him in person, I would tell him.
I'm sorry. I googled Jason Statham. The top result was a thing from Screen Rant. It says Jason Statham's The Beekeeper hits #1 at worldwide box office despite Mean Girls competition. I don't know how much you know about the new Mean Girls. Mm-hmm. It's bad.
Is it?
It's real bad.
Oh, no.
They took the good Mean Girls movie and the good Mean Girls Broadway production, and they took the worst parts of both and put them together.
That's why it's in January.
And it's so bad.
That's why it's in January.
And everyone I know that loves Mean Girls went to see it, and they are so upset.
Oh, no.
I know.
No.
I'm so upset. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm gonna, just because I hate myself. But it's real bad. Anywho, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about The Beekeeper. He beats up all these...
the original Mean Girl.
Shut the fuck up. He beats up all these FBI agents like super easily, despite all of them having rifles and sidearms and not being able to shoot him. And then he takes one of them hostage and just walks in the building with him. And then it's just so fucking bizarre. And then when he's in the building after he deals with the manager and the fucking call center people, and he's dealing with the private security guys, just taking them out. That was pretty cool. That was like some Agent 47 shit. And then he like drops the elevator. There was some really weird fucking shit in this fucking movie that it quickly eclipsed my like suspension of disbelief. And I was just out loud laughing in the movie theater.
Oh, I mean, towards the middle half of this movie, it becomes like a different movie, and it just kicks it into fucking turbo mode. And instead of, I think, the intended effect of you being like, this guy is so fucking cool, it has more of the effect of your eyes kind of glaze over and you're like, what is going on anymore?
Yeah. But and then it's like some big reveal that Derek Danforth is the guy in charge because the boss, the manager is like, this guy, he's in charge. And it's like this guy. Like, everyone knows who he is except us. Like, we know it's, Josh Hutcherson, but, like, we don't know who the fuck that is in this universe. And, like, his mother is someone super powerful. They keep doing these stupid little drops that, like, are supposed to mean something, but they don't because the movie hasn't given us that information yet. And then they just kind of unload it.
Well, on your second watch, you'll feel a lot more of it, I think.
You know what? Yeah, my second, third, and fourth watches will be better.
Right, with the 6 copies that you bought on Blu-ray.
I'm going to watch 1 and then throw it away, and then watch 2 and then throw it away, and then watch 3 and then throw it away.
What happens when you watch it the 6th time? Do you have to
I guess I got to buy more. Late-stage capitalism, comrade.
It's probably not great for the environment, I imagine.
So Verona figures out that Derek Danforth is the boss, and he actually runs both companies that are owned by Danforth Enterprises, which is also used by the U.S. government. And she's like, well, Derek, he may attempt to kill Derek, but, I mean, his mother's life is also in jeopardy. We can't risk her. And then we get a cut to her, like, walking through some room, and she's got a bunch of suits on either side of her. And she's talking to Jeremy Irons on the phone, and she's like, just make it happen. Goodbye. And then she's like, hi, I'm the Madam President. And then you get, like, this fucking dramatic, like, duh. Like, cool. That maybe would have hit harder 20 minutes ago. Doesn't hit as hard now. I've already figured that out. But okay. Thank you, movie. And then Jeremy Irons, knowing that Clay's escaped again, he tells Derek, like, we're going to stay at your mom's house, and that's going to protect us because your mom is the president. And this is going to be awesome because we're going to have the best the government can do to protect us. And blah, 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 blah. So they're all at this big old mansion. They got some new mercenaries, and the leader is some guy with an accent that sounds like it might be Taika Waititi's accent, but it's not.
Genuinely kind of an unplaceable accent.
It's kind of New Zealand, kind of not.
It's he's got sort of like a Tommy Wiseau effect where like
I did not hit her.
Where you're like you have traces of something, but none of the places I know.
It's there. I just don't know what it is, but it's there. And then this is the part that's just fucking ridiculous. So the whole mansion is obviously on lockdown. They've got the FBI there. They've got the fucking Secret Service there. Everything's like super top-notch security, right? So Clay...
Also, it's like kind of the White House, but isn't. Like, they don't have like a shot.
It's the beach house.
Okay.
She says that they're at her beach house in like
that makes
New
sense.
England.
That makes sense because he escapes at sea and stuff like that.
So they're in the beach at New England. So I don't know how much you know about security, but I would lock down any possible entrance towards the property.
Mm-hmm.
They apparently didn't bother to check this very large grate to the sewers.
You mean the one that's Jason Statham size?
Yeah, it
It's
happens
just-
to be human size. It's like about 6.5 feet tall by like 4 feet wide. It's so
right,
weird.
Right, just a slightly bigger than a Jason Statham. And it's
Is that an imperial unit of measurement or
yeah,
metric?
it's about 1.5 Jason Stathams.
Okay, and that's about like what 4.5 dinklages?
I'd say 3.5.
Yeah. Let's not be too mean.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So, Jason Statham hacks his way into the sewer grate,
They should give Dinklage one of these.
and then oh god, I would love that.
That'd be fucking sick.
That'd be so great. I'd love that. And then he like opens a manhole cover underneath one of the trucks that's coming in for this party that she's planning. Which rule number 1 of lockdown of the president: don't throw a fucking party where someone could infiltrate very easily. You want something secure? Great. No one in or out. That includes parties.
It would be a really, really great way to make sure that I'm super protected from any outside force. Inviting in a ton of people who I have no idea who they are.
Yeah, all of my son's friends. Let's invite all of these people. Ugh. So he opens a manhole cover. Troy, have you ever been around like Philadelphia Gas and Water, like opening a manhole?
Sure.
Have you really?
I've seen it not like up close, but like from afar. Sure.
First of all, fuckers are heavy.
Yeah.
Second of all, fuckers are loud.
Mm-hmm.
Opening that thing up, sliding it across the street, that's real loud.
Right. Yeah, I've heard some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles escape through there before.
So if you're under a box truck with special forces on either side, and one of them's got a dog and they're investigating, and one of them's like on a mechanic's rolly thing going under the trucks, you'd think you'd hear that, right?
Not if it's Jason Statham. Not if it's Beekeeper. Yeah.
I see. The Beekeeper.
Not if he used his bee powers.
His bee powers? Is he a Marvel hero now?
Yeah, I would love if they, at the very end, put
they
up the
introduced
stinger
the Beekeeper.
of the Beekeeper will return in the Avengers.
The Beekeeper will return in Avengers.
And it's just
The Beekeeper dynasty.
Yeah, you have, like,
he
the-
replaces Kang the Conqueror.
you have like the Hulk and like fucking Thor shooting lightning bolts and like Captain America, and then you just have like Jason Statham in like a jacket and a hat, just like kind of walking his way through.
I mean, that's no less ridiculous than Black Widow being part of the Avengers.
Well, Black Widow's like special ops.
He's a
plus-
fucking beekeeper, mate.
Okay,
Come
but-
on.
Yeah, but Black Widow does stuff, and he does.
He's about to kill the president, maybe.
I guess.
Come on. At least put him on the Thunderbolts.
Fine.
All right. But he gets under a truck, and then he's like hiding above the fucking transmission and the axles, which core strength for days, man. It takes a lot to hold yourself up under a truck. And then a Secret Service agent's coming through and sees him, and he manages to take the agent out silently.
Mm-hmm.
Super silently. And then switch places and outfits and tuck this guy up above the axle and then just leave from out under the truck.
Once again, I've played the Hitman series. All you need to do is hold down a button for a long enough period of time. And
You
switch
mash
outfits.
Y. Come on.
No, to switch outfits? You think you hold.
Oh, I thought you meant for like the choke.
No.
Yeah.
You just swapped outfits.
Yeah, that's fucking stupid.
Nice thing about that, he unlocked it for later levels too.
And then if you're, I don't understand this next part. So like he's a Secret Service guy now.
Only the next part. You understood everything before this.
Yeah, totally. He has a bag with him, and he switches into a suit to try to blend in at the party. Bro, everyone knows your face. You were in a Secret Service outfit with a face balaclava disguising you.
And everybody
no
would
one
be,
knew who you were.
Everybody would really be caught off guard by a Secret Service member being around the president.
Yeah, totally, right?
People would be like, what's that all about?
I literally do not know why that outfit change happened other than just to make Jason Statham look cooler. But then he ends up getting caught at the party, and he's dead to rights on his knees, about to die. But nope, I've got a trick up my sleeve. I hit the button and bombs go off behind me. Woo! And then he just runs into the building and proceeds. Is this the most comically ridiculous, fight scene you've ever seen?
I feel like there's got to be worse.
Where he's running upstairs and Secret Service agents are shooting down at him but missing by a mile. And he just grabs them and throws them over the railing.
I mean, here's the thing. There's more cartoonishly ridiculous scenes that are in, a John Wick, especially, later ones.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that, John Wick gets you to buy into the fact that the universe is sort of this weird fucking edgy cartoon. And then you have John Wick 4 has the traffic circle fight scene, and that's just and they're getting hit by cars and nobody slows down in traffic, and then a car pulls aside and 15 guys come out of it like a clown car, and then he kills all them, and another car stops and 4 more guys come out of that car. That's probably more comical, but that's a better movie that already got me to buy into the comical weirdness of that world.
Yep.
This is also him walking upstairs and there's Secret Service members, and it's just more boring than that is.
It is just boring. And meanwhile, inside the mansion, the FBI director tells Jessica about her son's scam operation, and Derek reveals that during Jessica's presidential campaign, she was behind in the polls and needed funding. So he used a CIA program to locate financial targets and scam them out of their money to finance her campaign. Upset and horrified, because she's taking the moral high ground here, Jessica decides that if and when Clay approaches, she will tell him and the world the truth about Derek's use of the program. In this way, she hopes that he will grant mercy to her son. Spoiler alert. No, he's not going to do that.
They don't even really get to that as an option either.
He doesn't care about the truth. He cares about you made my friend kill herself, so now I'm just going to kill you. That's it. Tit for tat. I don't care what you did. I don't care how you did it. I don't care who you got elected.
Also,
I'm just a beekeeper.
Here's a question for you.
Ask away.
And they don't really explore this too much in a thing of they kind of tease at it of is he doing the right thing, or is he wrong, or is he right, whatever. This movie's pretty on the side of he should be doing all of this stuff. And at what point in the movie were you he's kind of the villain of this movie?
Yeah, when he's murdering Secret Service agents and mercenaries on his way up to the President of the United States and her son. I think that makes you the bad guy.
There's even some stuff before that, the second call center he goes to with the very, very, comically Italian man. There's a point in time where I'm just this kind of turned from your...
Hey, yo, wait, what are you trying to say?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, it's just... Listen, if you felt seen by it, then I think it's valid, and I'm sorry that I said anything.
I love how his office, the Italian man's office, had a Triumph motorcycle in it.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was a Roadster. It doesn't matter. No one cares. It felt like a Chekhov's gun almost. Jason Statham's going to get on that motorcycle and ride it away from the FBI agents coming after him. That's how he's going to escape their guns and rifles. No, he just runs.
No, he escapes by being the beekeeper.
He just runs and manages to dodge every round fired at him.
No, Jeff, you don't understand. He escapes because he escapes by being the beekeeper. So that's how he escapes.
A swarm of bees come and they deflect all the bullets.
He doesn't do any bee things either. He doesn't ever use bees or
he
uses honey one time.
He's a literal beekeeper.
Yeah, I get that, but I'm just saying I feel like that's even a little thing of there should be one bee related to kill maybe.
I mean,
I guess the honey is that.
If this was a B-level horror movie, yeah.
Yeah, but
Winnie the Pooh, maybe.
I just feel
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, the horror movie. I'm not implying that A.A. Milne's Winnie the Pooh is a horror movie.
No, the last Tigger movie.
The Tigger movie. T-I-double-G-R. Anyway.
Very sad movie.
Enraged, Derek kills the FBI director and takes his mother hostage. You just took the president of the United States hostage after shooting the director of the FBI.
And your mom.
Like, in what universe do you make it out of this alive?
Beekeeper universe. Well, no, I guess he doesn't. So
Clay fights his way to the office, wounding some more agents, killing mercenaries. Clay eventually reaches the hallway leading to her office, and he engages in hand-to-hand combat with the mercenary leader and kills him. Clay reaches the president's office, but is stopped by Wallace, who tries to persuade him to stop, but Clay breaks his fingers, and then he just goes and sits in the corner like a bad boy. He just breaks Jeremy Irons' fingers, and he's just like, ah.
That's another thing. There's not really one intimidating villain in this.
No.
And there's like 5 of them.
There's a lot of different people that are the bad guy.
Yeah.
I'm not intimidated by any of them.
No.
Maybe that's the point. I don't know.
I guess.
Or it's just bad directing.
Also, I guess.
Who knows? He first of all, he pulls out an explosive device that I guess he just had to breach the door, and then he enters the room, and he's quickly joined by Verona and the rest of the FBI agents. Verona tries to dissuade Clay from killing Jessica and Derek. A nervous Derek then attempts to kill his mother due to his unwillingness to face accountability for his actions, but Clay kills him first, to Jessica's horror. Bitch, your son was about to put a bullet in your head. Come on. What, did you want him to? Shut up. And then, before anybody can react, Clay just jumps out the window. And I guess that's fine. I guess he's just going to be able to withstand that fall, having an open wound in his abdomen and whatever else is going on. And then Verona has a clear shot. She tells him to stop. And he's just like, it's time for you to decide who you really work for and what you really want, or whatever the fuck that line was. And she like has a clear shot, but then she just puts her gun down, and he's just like, all right then, let me jump off another ledge and down to the beach where I have this bag that I hid away, and I have a scuba gear set, and I'm just going to equip this real quick and just dive off into the ocean, never to be seen again.
And once again, she is freaked out when the one bounty hunter guy has a gun to his head, and she's like, you can't kill this guy. And then she has the shot at the end and decides not to shoot him, and she's like, well, I can't kill this guy. And again, I just want to point back, at this point, he goes from like wanting some revenge against like scam people who ended up taking the life of an old lady, cut forward 2 days to he's now basically the most prolific terrorist in American history.
Oh, yeah.
Like, at a certain point, it's like, yeah, there's some bad guys. He shouldn't be doing this.
Absolutely not. I don't understand.
This is also a trope we've talked about before of like, this is a very like vengeance Republican dad movie.
Absolutely, that's exactly what it is.
And there's a lot of those where it's just like, yeah, and then corruption goes so deep that the police can't do anything, and they won't do anything, even though we're all very pro-police. And also, maybe it's good if a dad with a gun goes and does a terrorism. like it's like really what most of these movies boil down to. And it's like kind of what people thought John Wick was gonna be when it first was coming out, and then people saw it and were like, "Oh no, this is like a masterpiece."
I don't. Okay. So, what do you think this movie has as a rating on IMDb?
IMDb, what's that, out of 10?
Yeah, and they do like decimal points.
IMDb usually puts things higher than I would think. Like I don't think I've ever seen a lower than a 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna say like a 6.3.
6.8. Very close.
I know IMDb's rating.
What do you think Google has it as? Google is all audience ratings. There's no critics.
Okay.
Out of 678 ratings, where do you think this falls? It's a stars out of 5.
Out of 5, I'll go 3.
4.5.
4.5.
4.5, man. How? I don't.
What's the Rotten Tomatoes?
I'm looking for Rotten Tomatoes. 70.
What's the audience? Out of curiosity.
Does
Does it have an audience yet?
The page is loading. The audience score is 93. This movie's apparently just really good.
This is how I felt when Plane came out last year. Plane was one of those movies where people were like, "Oh, so this is like some shitty like Gerard Butler beats up some guys and then the movie ends movie." And that is what it is. And then there was a period of time where people were like, "Guys, Plane has like a 90% in Rotten Tomatoes and like 100 critic score or like audience score. Like maybe we need to all go see Plane." And then I watched Plane, and it's one of the most profoundly fucking boring movies I have ever watched.
So this review probably sums it up. First of all, I've got 3 reviews I want to read you real quick. This one comes from the Wall Street Journal. Kyle Smith. The Beekeeper, which is both a B movie and a B movie, falls in the same category as many other Statham versus everyone else action thrillers. Not very good, but enjoyable.
Yeah, it's adjacent. This is the
Hannah Strong from Little White Lies writes, a sad disappointment for bee enthusiasts. 2 out of 5.
huh. Which
I guess
was really
she-
expecting bees.
I guess you really wanted bees.
I mean, I did have a criticism of more bees, please.
This one, it might be my favorite. This is from A.A. Dowd from Digital Trends. David Ayer has made a special kind of folly this time. An imbecilic and inept pileup of action movie cliches, redeemed only by the occasional hilarity of its caveman excess. 1.5 out of 5. He
Wow.
really hated it.
Wow.
Let me see. Can I find a fire in here? It's worth a watch out of curiosity. 5 out of 5. Okay. All right. I guess you're a movie critic. It's a Statham movie. What else do you really want? 4 out of 5.
It's like this is like a parody of a Statham movie. This is like it gets fucking like I mean Jason Statham movies get ridiculous, but like this is like this movie fucking goes places I didn't expect this movie to go.
Time and again, he is surrounded by hordes of SWAT guys, Secret Service agents, cops, mercenaries, you name it. And time and again, they're all laid low. It's nuts. It's funny. It's okay. 3 out of 4. This is just... That's exactly what this movie is. It's just hilarious and stupid, but it kicks ass occasionally, and it's worth a watch, I guess. The runtime on this movie, it's not terribly long. It's an hour 45, which used to be like a little on the longer side, but now we've got like
This feels pretty short.
Yeah, now we've got like 3-hour dramas coming in. So like an hour 45, you're in, you're out, you get some Beekeeper kicking ass, and then you're... it's not terrible. It's not good. It's not going to win an award. Nobody here is like particularly proud of what they did, I bet.
As far as January movies go, I would much prefer a Beekeeper than a Plane.
Sure.
So, that comes down to it. Jeff, as far as letter grades go, does this movie get a B?
Ooh. You know what?
There's no shot, dude. This doesn't a B. No, come on. I mean,
No.
do what you want. I'm not gonna.
Are you trying to sway me, sir?
No, I just wanted
Tell
to
you what. What do you think it is? I love the dramatic lean back in your chair.
Man,
I wish the audience could see that. Oh man, it was like a pull, like away from the mic too. It was perfect.
last movie we did Rebel Moon.
We did. I think I gave that a D.
I gave it like a D minus.
Yeah, I may have given it a C or a D. Looking back, I probably should have given it a D.
I enjoy this more than Rebel Moon.
This is an enjoyable movie. It's not good, but it's enjoyable. It's
and I don't want to use my letters to compare one movie to another because those are different movies.
Correct.
And they have almost nothing in common. and if you, when you start doing that, it starts turning into a thing of just like, oh, but you gave that movie a C, and you say you like it more than this movie, and you gave that movie a B, and it's like, and eventually it's just like, well, yeah, it's not what the rating's for.
We're not popular enough to have nitpicky fans yet.
Sure. But that's why I immediately was like, can we not do numbers? Like that was one of my big decisions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go C. Just C. I think I'm sticking with C. Not minus, not plus.
This is a movie that I would unabashedly play at a movie night with my friends, so that we can all laugh together and enjoy some Jason Statham ass kicking.
That's a good take. It's not.
It's a B.
Okay.
It's honestly a B. It's not great. It might be a B minus. It's like right on the cusp of a B minus, or versus like a C plus maybe.
Well, B minus Keeper doesn't have a whole lot of ring to it.
No, it doesn't. But like you know what you're getting out of it. So the reason Rebel Moon we graded so harshly is because we were promised so much, and it was a new property coming out of nowhere, and it was like, this will dethrone Star Wars as the next great sci-fi opera, and that didn't happen. We were completely let down by that movie.
Wait until the extended cut.
What's that?
Wait until the extended cut.
Do I have to?
I mean, if you want to see Zack Snyder's true vision, yeah.
I think I'm gonna need some drugs for that, but I'll try. Legal substances only, officer.
I am a person who has never had actual drugs in my body. You know, like I mean, not, you know, besides, you know, pharmaceutical drugs. What do you think this movie would be like on drugs?
Dude.
Do you think you would pop something into your system and watch the Beekeeper?
Keep talking. I like when you talk about doing drugs.
Man, I'm not gonna. I don't fucking know,
no,
man.
You don't. It's okay. This movie doesn't promise to be anything other than Jason Statham kicking ass, and that's all you really want out of a Jason Statham movie. It's like going to see Fast and the Furious. You just want to watch cars.
Also with Jason Statham.
Also Jason Statham movies. You just want to go watch cars be fast, kill some people, maybe rob banks, or work for
about family.
Work for the government, I guess, in some of the later ones.
Work for Kurt Russell.
Go to space eventually.
Do you know Kurt Russell's name in that? He's Mr. Nobody.
Shut up.
Yeah, that's Kurt Russell's character's name.
That's such a cheesy line.
And
his
son is also, his son in that movie is played by Clint Eastwood's son, Scott Eastwood, and they call him Little Nobody, or Junior Nobody, or something like that.
I hate that. I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate it in like the best way, though.
Fantastic movies. But I would say.
So Fast and the Furious movies, I've always clocked as like the kind of movie that you could watch on mute and you wouldn't lose anything.
That's correct.
You would still enjoy it just as much as if it wasn't on mute.
That's almost always correct. I would say that, like, if you were to say if you compared this movie or like an Expendables to a Fast and Furious, I'd be like, all right, come on, give Fast and Furious a little more credit than that. Like, Fast and Furious comes off a tiny bit more serious than that.
At first.
No, I would say even the...
F9 certainly doesn't.
I would... Maybe I just take the movies more seriously.
You might, but you're not supposed to.
I think 5... Well, I don't take any of the movies seriously. I'm just saying... Okay. It seems a little bit more grandiose than something like The Beekeeper. Especially 5, 6, 7. 5, 6, 7, genuinely...
Sure.
Real good.
I mean, they also have like insane budgets at this point, right?
Yeah, and there's some like mythos tied to it and stuff like that makes it feel more important than it is. But it's not the same thing as this, which is like this feels like a throwaway. Like if you and I didn't do this podcast, I was not going to watch this. And if I did watch it without us doing this podcast, I wouldn't remember it by the end of the year. but like it's sort of Fast and Furious is almost like a Star Wars thing where it's like you can watch a real fucking bad one and be like, well, I have to remember it forever because it's Star Wars.
Right.
Like this is like a thing where it's like I will remember every scene of this because it's Fast and Furious.
Yeah. I will say this is the last thing before we end. I tried to Google the Beekeeper budget. Can't find it, but I did get a different Google question that says, how much damage does the Beekeeper do? And I was like, ooh, did someone clock that? No, they're talking about the Beekeeper from Terraria.
Oh.
That does 30 damage or 22 melee damage.
Okay, so to all of our Terraria fans, there's
Terraria? Who cares?
2D Minecraft.
Yeah.
Somebody will be very mad about that.
Worst Minecraft, in
somebody
my
will
opinion.
be very mad about. Ooh, somebody's gonna be really mad about both those takes.
Come at me, Terraria fans.
If we can
Troy,
build.
You know what? I'm gonna drop you a bombshell right now.
Okay.
I think this game is super overrated,
Terraria?
and I do not like it. Undertale.
Oh shit!
And that's the end of the podcast.
So that's now you're just homophobic. Now all
Would
the
you
gays
say
will
I've
come after you.
kicked the bee's nest?
You've kicked the LGBT's nest. I don't know. There's a B in there somewhere.
LGBTs.
Yeah, that take is borderline transphobic. I'm just gonna let you know.
Is it really?
No, that's a very big gay person game.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I just don't know why. But at the same time, like, I know the game. I tried it. It's okay. It's
You're not queer enough. Sorry.
Apparently not.